oh no, the movie's really great, you're just too stupid to understand it, and just wait until the sequel comes out. We'll be totally vindicated that we're all super smart and you are all just these heathens who don't understand the majesty of film. Screw you guys, because you were wrong. You were wrong and we were right. Prometheus was a dumb movie, and you tried to wank yourself and thinking that this is some great 2001 Space Odyssey kind of mystery. No, you're just a wanker. We were right, you were wrong. Prometheus sucks, Alien Covenant sucks, and Ridley Scott can suck the big one. Oh, Ridley Scott. Oh, Ridley. Stop it. Just stop it. You know what Ridley Scott is like? He's like that drunken grandpa who's always like, hey, pull my finger, pull it. And you're like, yeah, grandpa, I know what happens when I pull your finger. You fart and you think it's funny. I know what happens. It's the same as what happened the last 50 times you told me that same joke. And it's like you don't know whether your grandpa is just so senile, he can't remember that he's already done that same thing 50 million times before, or whether he just doesn't care and he's just being an asshole. You don't know. Ridley Scott is like that. Just stop it, Ridley. Stop doing it. Just have your scotch and fall asleep in your lounge like you should, old man. Just stop it. Ridley Scott needs, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, Ridley Scott needs to be more like Shyamalan. What I mean is, you know, Shyamalan, he was just churning out all these terrible movies, but then he took a long period off movies, recharged his creative batteries, and he came back with Split. That's what Ridley Scott needs to do. He needs to stop making movies, go off, do something else for a while, and then come back and actually make a good movie. But he just insists on churning out all this crap, just movie after movie after movie after mediocre movie. They're all mediocre. Whatever happened to the Ridley Scott who made the original Alien? Apparently he died a long time ago. And I don't get why there's almost like this desperate energy with Ridley Scott. It's like he feels like he has to just churn out as many movies as he can. Doesn't matter what the quality is, just has to churn them out. Like, why? Why? Is he trying to pay off his debt or something? Is he trying to pay off like his loan for a new boat? I mean, surely he doesn't need the money at this point. So I don't understand why he's not going for like quality rather than quantity. Kind of like Tarantino, you know? Tarantino makes like one movie every like 5 years and it's always awesome. He goes for quality rather than quantity. Why doesn't Ridley Scott do that? Why doesn't he just focus on making one good movie every couple of years instead of churning out all this crap? I don't know, maybe Ridley Scott, maybe he's just like one of those old guys who's like a workaholic and they know that as soon as they retire, they're just going to die in their sleep. So maybe he's like scared to stop making movies because that's the only thing that's keeping him alive. Maybe that's why there's this desperate energy with these movies. He's like, just got to keep making them, or else I'll die, that would actually explain a lot. You know, with Alien Covenant, the whole theme of that is like Whalen and all that is like fear of death and trying to stay alive and keep that immortality. So maybe that actually does explain Alien Covenant. He's just making these movies so that he's got something to do so he doesn't die. And those themes are working their way into Alien Covenant here. Well, it's depressing. It's depressing, Ridley. Maybe you're better off just dying, okay? Maybe it's better that you die a hero rather than live long enough to see yourself become George Lucas, you know? Just stop it, Grandpa. Stop it. And the movie itself, it's just meh. You know, is it terrible? I don't know. It's just, even if it's not terrible and it's just average, it just sucks so much because Alien is not supposed to be just meh. It's not supposed to be just average, especially not when Ridley Scott is making it. I mean, it's just a terrible fall from grace for the franchise, and Ridley Scott fell from grace a long time ago anyway. And it's just, there's not a single twist in the movie that you don't see coming from a mile away. And almost every single character and every single line of dialogue almost it feels like it's taken straight out of like the generic movie playbook. Just word for word. Every single line is just this generic cliche. It's boring. It's stupid. And good God, they Alien 3'd the last movie. Like, you remember at the start of Alien 3, we're all about, oh, Hicks and Newt, we want to see this new family unit going. Then the movie starts and they just killed them off. This movie does that. It just kills off everyone connected to the last movie. Kills off Shaw, kills off all the engineers, wiping out all of the questions that we actually wanted answered from Prometheus in the first place. You remember all those questions that everybody said over and over and over would be answered in the sequel, and now it hasn't been at all? No, let's not answer any of them. Instead, let's just kill off everyone related to those questions so we don't have to answer them. I mean, really? You couldn't even, you couldn't even find the energy to like steal a fan theory online? Hell, you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even steal any fan theory online is better than just wiping out the questions. Just wiping out, just killing everyone off like it never even happened. You know, apparently they want to make a third movie after this, another one, so it'll kind of be like a trilogy from Prometheus, Alien Covenant, whatever the next one is. But what's the point now? What's the point? Why bother? If you're just going to erase everything from the last movie whenever there's a new movie, then what's the point in anybody trying to follow this? What's the point of making a trilogy? I guess what's the point in ever watching movies, really? But how do you expect people to be excited about, the next part, when you've proven you don't answer anything? You don't even continue the story over, apart from having Michael Fassbender in it. And I do like Michael Fassbender. David is pretty awesome. He's good. He's like one of the few good things in this movie. But why bother? Why should anyone be excited about continuation of this trilogy or this story? The next movie's just like this one. You're probably just going to completely wipe out the events of this movie and just do something totally different. Well, then why are you even trying to sell it as a trilogy or an anthology, or why even bother connected at all? Why not just make random movies then? Just make random movies. Don't call them Alien, just make random movies. They got nothing to do with the Alien franchise anyway, these things, hardly. And it's worse than that because it ruins the actual original Alien movies. I mean, in this we've got the whole thing of spores. Like, apparently dumping this black goo on this planet which doesn't allegedly affect vegetation has resulted in this kind of vegetation type of black goo where you stand on it and it sprays out. Like, if it doesn't affect vegetation, how did it blend with that? I don't know. Who cares, right? Who cares? But then these little spores, they go out into the air, they go in your ear or up your nose or in your mouth or whatever, and then 5 minutes later, boom, chest burster. Well, what the hell's the point of having like an egg or a facehugger now? That's way more efficient than an egg and a facehugger. If someone just needs to breathe in one tiny little microscopic spore and 5 minutes later a chest burster comes out, then there's absolutely no reason to have an egg or a facehugger that needs to be attached to you for like a long period of time and needing to have a period of gestation. I mean, these things grow in like 5 minutes because when they're on the away mission, they say you got to be back in 5 minutes. The guy breathes in the spore, boom. In fact, he's actually even before the time runs out. So it's even faster than that. So it's made the whole xenomorph sort of species completely irrelevant now. And it's created so many more issues of like, now we say, how'd the xenomorphs get here? Oh, well, David made them. How he made them when the black goo would have already wiped out all the biological life, apart from plants, of course. So if there's no life left on the planet once the black goo's done, how is he splicing the black goo together with different things in order to create xenomorphs? There's nothing left. It's all gone. Did he fly around the world first and like randomly pick up all these different animals that he just figured he might need? I mean, I didn't see any evidence of that. And even if we ignore all that and say, oh yeah, somehow we managed to engineer these xenomorphs anyway, then why did they have a xenomorph carving on the wall in Prometheus? Was he trying to design them to look exactly like that? Is it just a coincidence? Is it just a massive coincidence that he made it exactly like that carving? Clearly, the xenomorphs must have already been out there, or maybe the neomorphs were already out there. There was already some variation of it. And it gets even more confusing because in the novelization, there's apparently a deleted scene that didn't make it into the script where David explains that he's got like an actual like traditional xenomorph egg with a facehugger in it, and he says the engineers left this behind. They left it behind, so he was doing all this experimentation to try to match their creation, to try to recreate what they had built, but he couldn't quite match it. That would at least explain why there was already a xenomorph carving on the wall in Prometheus, but it also just makes this whole movie a waste of time then, because like, well, who cares if David goes out and created all this stuff? The engineers already did it anyway, but now all the engineers are dead. They're never going to say on film why they wanted to kill humans, even though Ridley Scott mentioned it in an interview, because it was the whole space Jesus theory and all that. Why didn't you just go with that in the first place, Ridley Scott? I mean, if you weren't going to include that in Prometheus, why didn't you switch it to something else here? Why did you just not even address it and just throw it out in an interview somewhere? It's just so stupid. And it's, you know what, it's insulting. It's bloody insulting because everyone's ranting about this movie of like, they're still not wearing helmets and breathing in all their spores. Still not wearing helmets. And I'm sorry, but I refuse to accept. I absolutely refuse to accept that the filmmakers are unaware of people's backlash from Prometheus. I refuse to accept that the Ridley Scott and the filmmakers are unaware that people said about all the scientists in Prometheus, why did they take their helmets off? I refuse to accept that they had no idea that people had that criticism. How could they not? They must have known about that. It was one of the most complained about things of that movie. So the fact that they don't have them wearing helmets in this, not only do they take, it's worse than them taking their helmets off, they just don't even have them in the first place. That basically proves to me that it's just a giant F you to the audience. Them not wearing helmets, they're very well aware of all our criticisms, but that is a giant middle finger right in our face saying F you, we don't give a damn about you, we don't give a damn about what you want, we will tell you what you want. Well, no, I'm sorry, no. I guess it just goes to show that this is the problem with making movie prequels, because all these movies have a lot of movies have like backstories that are like legends and mythology, but when you go back and actually explore them, it always ends up sucking. You know, like this was the problem a lot of people had with the Star Wars prequels, because like in the original trilogy, you've always got this idea of some legendary time with Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader and the rise of the Empire and all that. But then when you actually see it, it sort of takes the magic away. It demystifies it. Same thing happened with the Terminator franchise. We hear in the first couple movies, we just get little glimpses and hear stories about John Connor in the future leading the Resistance. But then when you actually see it, it's just not that great. You know, that should just be a rule of thumb for movies now. Don't actually show your mythology. Don't actually explain your mythology. It's backfired pretty much every time. I mean, I can't think of any time when they've actually done a prequel and it's actually helped in any way. I can't think of any instances of that. I'm sure if I spent a bit of time Googling it, I could probably find like one or two movies where I was like, actually, those were good. But the failures far outweigh those successes. So Alien Covenant, it's just a mediocre mess. It completely fails at addressing any of the concerns for the last Prometheus movie, which means the next movie will have nothing to do with this either, so why even bother trying to follow these new movies? May as well just go see something else, I guess. But if there's one thing that we can take away from this, is that this is the final nail in the coffin to all those smug Prometheus elitist apologists out there. When Prometheus came out, and there were all those smug people who were like, oh no, the movie's really great, you're just too stupid to understand it, and just wait until the sequel comes out. We'll be totally vindicated that we're all super smart, and you are all just these heathens who don't understand the majesty of film. Screw you guys, because you were wrong. You were wrong and we were right. Prometheus was a dumb movie, and you tried to wank yourself and thinking that this is some great 2001 Space Odyssey kind of mystery. No, you're just a wanker. We were right, you were wrong. Prometheus sucks, Alien Covenant sucks, and Ridley Scott can suck the big one.